Broadcasting from an area on the southeast coast of the Big Island this evening. Today, for the first time in more than a decade, lava met the ocean. It's been oozed into the ocean early this morning. The 7-mile river of molten rock reached the ocean tide pools at 5:15. Since then, the main lava flow has been trickling into the ocean, creating the steam clouds that billow hundreds of feet. Geologists say the front of the main flow is about as wide as a football field and is now veering west. It's creeping along at about 10 feet per hour. Right now, Civil Defense says no homes are in immediate danger. Since Tuesday, the River of Fire has destroyed 9 homes, leaving 60 people homeless. Today, Catherine Cruz was in Kalapana when the spectacular show took place. It had been an event that many people were waiting for, and they were not disappointed.
It was not without a gentle touch. A rainbow appeared. This mix of fire and sea had not happened in 14 years, and when it did, what a sight it was.
I predicted I could see it.
It was a glimpse of nature's elements at work, the secret to Hawaii's birth. It was what James Jackson had waited for patiently for 3 years. This time, his overnight stay would pay off.
You just have to take it, no matter if it means staying up all night or whatever, because this is an extraordinary place to live, and it's a shame to live here and not to have the experiences that this island provides. It's just an incredible place.
For most of those who gathered at Kupapau Point, it was the first time to see hot molten lava spill into the sea. Officials will keep that post open for those who will brave a long drive and a hike.
We're working closely with the observatory, the volcano observatory, and we have people outside. If it gets to a danger point, we will move the blockade back.
But it is from the air that the finest show is seen best. Near the source, a large reservoir, a lava pool has formed. Scientists say it's that pool that has eased the pressure up front. Geologists say the output at the vent is still very steady. They say this flow into the sea may be a long one. They say it looks like it may last for at least another 24 hours.
It looks like it's building more of a topography toward the ocean, and once that happens, maybe it'll flow a little bit faster.
Meanwhile, back on land, a stray finger of lava is inching its way south on Kalapana Highway. While in its path it brings destruction, its victims, the displaced families, have a name for it. Pu'uku Pai Anaha. It means the mysterious one.
You may be flowing down the side, all of a sudden it goes the other way. Maybe, you know, I saw that thing going all over the place. Nobody knows where she's going.
And such is the mystery that legends are built on. Catherine Cruz, KITV4 News, Kalapana.
We'll be keeping a close watch in the volcano region. We'll have a continuing report on our 10 o'clock newscast tonight. Tina?
Of all the gods and demigods in Hawaiian history, Madame Pele has retained a strong following throughout the years. And today, with all the attention focused on Pele, KITV's Paula Akana filed a report on the fiery legend.
Pele is an unpredictable, mysterious woman. One moment, she's young and beautiful. The next, old and crusty. Then, without a moment's notice, she'll turn into a goddess of fire and unleash a fury like you've never seen before. You'll find Pele deeply rooted in Hawaiian folklore. Legends say she came to the islands in search of a place to make her home. They say she dug several craters on each island, but none were warm enough for her fires. That is until she arrived on Hawaii. There she made her permanent home in the Halema'uma'u fire pit deep in the Kilauea caldera. Those who believe in Pele say she makes a human appearance before an eruption takes place. They say her angry voice can be heard in the explosions of the lava, and that the flames that thrust through lava cracks are her fiery spears. She has been tested throughout the years by Christians challenging the ancient form of idolatry, and by believers whose homes are in the pathway of the lava flow. Pele is no longer worshipped like in the days of old, but she is still respected by Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians alike. The saying is, never abuse an old woman, she might be Pele. It is kept true to heart today. She could be an old woman you pick up in your car who disappears into thin air, or a woman with a white dog standing on the side of the road. Take heed, be nice. If not, beware the fury of Madame Pele, a fury that believers say no one can stop. Paula Akana, KITV4 News.
And coming up, a history-making day for the new Waialva prison facility.
And there is a new portrait hanging at the state capitol.
up on a store right now. We're separated from the flow hitting the water by about 1/4 of a mile and 2,000 degrees of lava. The situation is that the steam cloud is small. You can see it over the palm trees in the background, but it is not particularly. It's not a large flow that is in the water right now. The front of the flow is about 200 meters across, but only about 20 yards or 20 meters across for the little finger that is dipped into the Pacific Ocean right now. So far, Joe, about still 9 homes are listed as totally destroyed. There was a fear earlier today that one of the other fingers of lava was moving down the side of Kilauea, but that flow has slowed appreciably, and it doesn't look at this time that any more homes are in danger. Also, so far there are no injuries that anyone has reported today. The eruption up at the vent is continuing. There is no change at all in that. The lava lake is up at its same level, so there's no changes there. And there's been no let up in the volume anywhere. So that's where it stands right now, Joe.
Richard, are volcano officials making any estimates on how long they think this eruption might continue?
No. All they can say is that there are no signs of it weakening at all. So it has been going the same way it has been going for the last 200 some odd days.
What's the smell like when that lava hits the ocean? Does it give off a strong sulfur smell?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't there. Close to the ocean, you can smell the ohia forest burning, and you can also smell the asphalt burning where the flow crosses the road. Those are the 2 dominant smells in the area. The sulfur is more up at the vent itself, up on the side of the slope of the Kilauea.
And again, Richard, the lava flow now is presenting no threat to any of the other homes in that area?
No. Just about 20 minutes ago, we drove by the Powell House, which miraculously is surrounded by now hardened lava, and it looks like it's going to stand. The lava there is still. It hasn't moved in the last 24 hours, according to what the police and the park rangers told me. So the house has been spared. You remember that was the house that we had the dramatic pictures of the firefighters pouring water on the lava right next to it.
Right, right. Richard, if tourists go over to the Big Island now to see this, how close actually can they get to where the lava is hitting the ocean?
Just this afternoon, Joe, the Parks Department, the National Parks Department, and the County Civil Defense agreed that it would be safe enough for tourists to come in and come right up to the lava flow. They will be bussed in or vanned in by the National Park Service, so they will have to be very careful, and probably they'll have to wait some time. But it is possible to come right up to the lava flow and touch it. The cool part of it, that is.
Right. Okay, thank you, Richard Barreca, for that live report from the Big Island on the Kilauea eruption, and the lava again has hit the ocean. With Thanksgiving behind
goes the theory. And more importantly, it's the day after Thanksgiving.
This is great. I love it. We met at 8 o'clock, had breakfast, and still here.
You're standing in line to get into stores and you love it?
Yeah, it's not too bad. People are very polite here.
I anticipate about a 10% sales gain today, and probably for the season about probably 6 to 8%.
It's like all of a sudden after Thanksgiving, people can't ignore Christmas anymore. So they have to go out and shop, and they've been putting it off, and they can't do it. And with a lot of places start with their sales, the big promotions start.
Bachman said this year's hottest item is the laser tag gun, priced $49. But it's sold out everywhere, she says, and no one will have it until after Christmas. Too bad. You could use one to get out of the parking lot, which was jammed as usual. To soothe the frayed nerves of shoppers, some stores provided a personal touch to remind you it's the Christmas season. At Ala Moana, Jim McCoy, Channel 2 News.
I wonder if that guy takes requests. You'll want to check your phone bills extra carefully this month. That's the word from Hawaiian Telephone today, which reports that some customers may find discrepancies on those bills. Officials at the phone company said a computer error may have billed some customers a charge for local calls. and residents on all islands may be affected. And people who find errors in the long-distance portion of their bills should contact Hawaiian Tel.
Toward 4 Kalapana homes. 5 others in the area remain surrounded by the lava and are still in danger. Madam Paley has already destroyed 9 homes in recent days that stood between her and her path to the sea. Lava is still pouring out of Kilauea volcano at the rate of 500,000 cubic yards a day, and much of it is still making its way into the sea. The new landmass formed by the lava now reaches 125 yards out into the ocean and is 400 yards across. Sightseers are still coming to the section of Kalapana Highway to look at where the lava crossed the road, only now they are not being let into the area because of threats from a new finger of lava breaking out of the main flow. Threats that put as many as 9 homes in the path of the oncoming molten mass, 4 of those homes for the first time.
There are about 4 more in this immediate area. There's also a kipuka of homesteads where there are 3 or 4 homesteads is almost entirely surrounded by lava now. And earlier there was a little bit of movement again off the pre-existing flows toward that area.
Wright says it's impossible to tell when the homes could be overrun with lava or when they'll be out of danger. The Civil Defense says, though, no new evacuations have been ordered. If any more homes are lost to Madam Paley, there is one person who will know how the owners feel, Emma Cowhey. Her home used to sit on the other side of this lava flow. It was the first to go up in flames on Wednesday.
See, that's my roots there. I was born in that area, not in that house, in a family house just down the road. And my mom always used to tell me, you know, this is Paley's land. And she points her hand out to the rocks and the lava out there. She said, she made all of this. And although this is our land, but if Paley comes down and takes this place, let her have it. She made it and it belongs to her. We're only here temporarily. So all those memories came back. And I kept telling myself, well, you're right, Mom. If she comes and takes it, let her have it.
Emma spoke to us today from her bed in the Hilo Hospital. It's the first interview she's granted since being taken there Tuesday, the day before her home was destroyed, for a back problem not related to her struggle with Madam Paley. Emma's son, Gilbert, better known as Hawaiian entertainer Zulu, came to the family home Tuesday to help his mother evacuate after the order came from the Civil Defense.
I didn't know the house was gone until Gil and Mary Lou came here Wednesday evening, or just about 7, a little after 7. Of course, Gil came in tears, and he said, Mom, it's gone.
Emma's hospital room bed is surrounded by flowers sent to her by friends, relatives, and well-wishers. She thanks them all, and she says they all want to know if she plans to go back to the land where her home used to be.
I've been asked that question a few times, and my answer is definitely no. I have beautiful memories of that place. Like I said, I was born and raised there, got married, moved away, went to school, and then eventually I lived in California for about 16 years, came back, and lo and behold, I didn't know my heart was still there, and so I went back and built a house, the house that I just lost. So to me, that is an entirely different place now. It's not the place that I know. It's not a place that I've learned to love. It would be a place where I would have to start from scratch again, so I don't want to go back.
Emma says it's going to be difficult to leave the area where she raised her family. She has fond memories of learning to swim at nearby Queen's Bath and later teaching her children to swim there. But she says she has to get on with her life and put the past behind her. She says she hopes to be out of the hospital in a few days and will then begin looking for a new place to live, closer to Hilo. She says she might take up Hawaiian Paradise Park on its offer of a free lot to homeowners who lost their property to Madam Paley. Also, the dozen or so public school students who live on the far side of the lava flow.
Service allowed tourists to take a look at the lava flow over the weekend, but yesterday Civil Defense set up roadblocks along the Kalapana Highway. The new flow is threatening 5 homes that had been spared last week. The flow has slowed considerably since last night, but officials don't know when it will stop. Scientists from the Volcano Observatory will take an aerial flight this morning to see just how far the new lava flow has gotten.
When they will be out of danger. A Waipahu man who was a...
That's terrific. Loved it.
Oh, wonderful. God. And how much?
How much? Well, $6 a pound versus $15 for real crab.
At least those are the prices of the samples we used in our tests, but that's typical. In general, surimi costs less than half what natural seafood costs. So you might want to try it. People do like the taste, as you saw, and surimi, like natural fish, is high in protein and low in fat. However, unlike natural fish, surimi contains some added sugar and, most troublesome, say nutritionists, lots of added salt, more than twice as much salt as regular fish. So surimi is not for you if you're trying to avoid salt. Finally, you won't find surimi under the name surimi. In the supermarket, it's called imitation crab. They also have surimi-based imitation shrimp, scallops, and lobster, although crab's the biggest seller. Now, I can't guarantee that all brands will taste as good as the one we used in our test. That was Sea Leg Supreme. Quality varies greatly from brand to brand, but I'm sure if you experiment, you can find one you like, and it'll save you money. We'll be right back.
When driving, the high winds can make driving very hazardous. There are reports of malfunctions of traffic lights and downed power lines. Strong wind gusts could reach up to 50 miles per hour, especially on the downslope side of mountain and valley areas. Civil defense people also caution boat owners to have the boats secured at moorings, and plane owners should tie planes down. So far, the only repercussions of the high winds have been a few scattered power outages. Young Brothers barges decided this afternoon to cancel inter-island service until the winds and surf calm a bit. Any time now, Madame Pele is expected to claim her next victim, a Kalapana home that's in her path. One of the 3 fingers of lava that broke from the main flow is closing in on the home of Louis Powell and his family. Big Island civil defense officials say it's up to fate now. There's nothing more that man can do to save this home or the 8 others in danger. Kelly Dean has more on that.
New lava backed up another 50 feet on Kalapana Highway overnight, cutting off the last way in from the road to Louis Powell's home. The Powell house was the first in line last week, but was spared by the molten lava that torched 5 neighboring homes farther down the road. Firemen won a valiant day-long battle with the lava last time. There will be no similar struggle this time.
We will try fire control in regards to runaway brush fire, but there will be no attempts to stop the lava itself because that's about as useless as trying to stop Niagara Falls.
Louis Powell has been cheering for victory over Madame Paley. He had his hopes up after winning the first fight, but he knew this afternoon that he would probably lose the rematch.
If there's destined to go, I just hope that by the end, and let the rest of the people whose houses are still standing be protected. Enough suffering has gone on in the area.
Louis' wife, Rebecca, is a local entertainer, known as Auntie Becky Powell, the songbird of Puna. She was busy this afternoon tending the flowers she dug up from her yard and transplanted in the back of the house the Powells are staying in until they decide on their future.
I was going to make my place so beautiful that it's like a tourist attraction, but I'm sorry to say if the volcano come and take the place and take the house, well, you know, I'm quite, like I said, I'm resigned to the fact, well, if he's going to take it, he's going to take it, because you see the rest of my family's home is already all gone, and so there's nothing left for us to stay.
Louis and Rebecca's son Glenn stood vigil on the road near the family home he lived in from the time he was born until he finished school. Like his mother and father, he is resigned to seeing the homestead go up in flames.
My mom and dad's pride and joy down here, yeah, and everybody just waiting for this burn, so mother said she just take them and be gone with it so the family not to worry anymore.
The Powell home is not the only one in danger. It's just expected to be the next to go. 3 others are in the lava's path too. One belongs to John Pye. The other 2 are owned by Kaipo Roberts and his son Buddy. The elder Roberts home is marked by row after row of colorful orchids.
The homeowners have to realize that as long as this eruption goes on, there is a potential threat to their home and property. What is today, and tomorrow they'll just have to keep up with it.
Besides the 4 homes in the direct path of the lava flow, 5 others remain surrounded by it and are in jeopardy of being overrun too. Lava has been pouring out of Kilauea volcano at the rate of 500,000 cubic yards a day for 137 days now, and geologists say there's no end in sight. That led Civil Defense Director Harry Kim to say the government's going to have to make a decision soon to declare this a disaster area and abandon it. Kelly Dean, KITV4 News on the Big Island.
Underwater fireworks. It's the first time in a dozen years that Kilauea's lava has reached the ocean. A colorful meeting with no end in sight. David Dow, CBS News, Hilo, Hawaii.
A painting by Edward Manet of the view from his Paris studio sold today.
The ledge at the lookout was something like a ride at an amusement park. A firm grip on a railing was a good idea. While being buffeted about by the wind may have been amusing to these tourists, there were serious consequences elsewhere. Civil Defense says a roof was blown off on North King Street, a utility pole was blown down along Kalaniana-Ole Highway, and a pole was blown down in Palolo Valley. A high wind watch is in effect for all islands. And high wind caused a chain reaction accident that injured 3 people this afternoon. It happened at the mouth of the Poly Tunnel, Kilauea bound. Police say strong winds blew several mattresses off the back of a truck. A compact car braked to avoid the flying mattresses and was struck from behind by a police car. 3 teenage girls were treated and released at Castle Medical Center. Traffic was backed up for more than an hour while the accident was cleared. Island Bureau reporter Mark Sagami has more.
A valiant effort by Big Island firefighters initially spared Louis Pau's home from being destroyed by lava, but it was only a temporary breather. At 7:30 this morning, a fresh outbreak oozed from under the previous flow. Louis Pau's home was in its path. Neighbor John Paul Pice spent an uneventful night in the family home, but he was awakened by officials after the new outbreak was discovered. Firefighters again wetted down the front of the flow, but decided after a few minutes there was little they could do.
Absolutely nothing except make sure that we warn the residents whose homes and lands may be affected, keep spectators out, and keep the area secured.
The Paus did have some time to move the last of their possessions out with the help of county workers. Finally, Louis Pau decided that was enough. There was no way to save every memory. Geologists said there was more activity on the Ka'u side of the flow, but the situation was not as critical. Today's surprise outbreak of lava only confirms what Civil Defense has been saying all along. There is really no way to predict what this particular lava flow will do next. Mark Sagami, KGMB News, Kapa'ahu on the Big Island.
The Kilauea lava flow is giving some photographers a rare chance to shoot underwater pictures of molten rock meeting the ocean. Leslie Wilcox narrates our underwater video.
Most of the lava hitting the ocean is traveling through lava tubes, which keep the liquid rock as piping hot as when it left the volcano oven 8 miles away, upwards of 2,000 degrees, easily hot enough to make some of the seawater boil. But that didn't stop KGMB video cameraman Mike May and 2 other scuba divers who were shooting film for the BBC. They wore wetsuits for protection, not warmth. It was like swimming in a hot tub 25 feet deep, except a lot louder. Geologists say the popping is caused by the water cooling the hot skin of the lava and making it contract. This allows gases and water trapped inside to break out. Often the lava stays red hot underwater for some time.
Immediately as you chill the outside, that's a very insulating skin, and so it causes the interior or protects the interior from any further interaction with seawater.
The photographers learned by approaching cautiously that they could swim very close to the molten rock without getting burned. So they were able to record the formation of what's called pillow lava, loose bunches of lava, and the formation of black sand. It happens rather quickly, lava rock chunks breaking off in the cooling process and the wave action breaking them down further into particles. You're watching a process that has been going on off and on in the waters of the Big Island for more than 1 million years. And there's more to come. Leslie Wilcox.
In the Kapa'ahu neighborhood. That is one problem. And as our Neighbor Island Bureau Chief Mark Sagami explains, the steady people flow in the eruption area is another.
Ever since the lava hit the ocean, there's been a steady increase in the number of sightseers to the area. The pressure has been heavy on the Ka'u side of the flow, where the U.S. Park Service counted over 6,000 visitors in one day over the weekend. A fence separating Volcanoes National Park from private Kapa'ahu property keeps visitors at least a half mile from any active flow. Some sightseers aren't satisfied.
One of the rangers counted 35 incidents last night.
That's true. There was that many people, but out of 4,000 people during the day, that's definitely an acceptable number as far as the size of it. but we definitely want people to obey the county police, county officials, and the national park rangers.
The culprits have been jumping the fence in an effort to get a better shot, violating private property rights and possibly endangering their own safety. Park officials also said there's been a problem with vandalism with the cars parked along the roadway.
We had a couple of cars broken into and items stolen out of them, which will happen, of course, anywhere where you have large crowds of people parking. And so our rangers are patrolling for that, and we're going to be keeping an eye on that sort of thing for sure.
Ames said visitors should obey all rules, otherwise the troublesome fuel will spoil it for everyone. Meanwhile, the advancing lava claimed its 10th home last night. Louis and Rebecca Powell's place caught fire at 8 p.m. and burned for 30 minutes. Powell watched his home go down and hoped his was the last.
God will give us strength to rebuild our lives and continue on in happiness with a wonderful family and all our friends, both here and away.
But Powell's home may not be the last. 3 homes on the Hilo side of the flow remain in danger. 5 other properties are still surrounded by lava. The still unnamed volcano continues to put out 500,000 cubic yards of lava per day. Mark Sagami, KGMB News, Volcanoes National Park.
Congressional hearings on the finger.
The fire from Kilauea is pouring into smaller fingers of lava, breaking out from the main river that has formed a black crust 7 miles long. Last night, it destroyed the home of Louis Powell. 5 days ago, firefighters managed to stop the advancing lava, but Powell and his wife were prepared for the worst.
We can always rebuild as long as no lives are lost. That would be, you cannot replace lives.
If it's lost, you know, it's the material things, I don't care about it, but it's just the memory of the Aina that I love.
The land was given to the family by King Kamehameha III over a century ago, and the home they lost was built by her father. He lost his own home last week along with 8 neighbors. They are staying with relatives nearby. Today, the lava touched off a number of brush fires as it continued its march to the sea. It's created a black 13-acre beach that keeps growing every day as nearly 500,000 cubic yards of lava pours out of Kilauea. Scientists don't know when it'll stop. Barbara Tanabe, Channel 2 News.